Let's do it live. It's inside coverage on the road, everybody. Welcome to San Francisco, the home of Super Bowl 60. Welcome to our very first, the 2025 season. We're in 2026 now, live edition of inside coverage on the road all week at the Super Bowl. I'm Andrew Siciliano. This, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the same room together. The great, the smiling, the happy, the bald, he points it out. It's not what I point out, but Frank always points it out. Frank Schwab, it is good to actually see you in person and do a show in person.
It is great. It is fun. It's different. You're not just on my screen, as I say. I also had to wear pants.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I'm getting used to that. Yeah.
So here's the breaking news, and we'll get to the news, by the way. We'll paint the picture. We'll set you up for the Super Bowl, and we'll have great guests all week. Jory Epstein will join us, and Charles Robinson will join us, and Ben Fox, our normal crew all throughout the week. But when Frank walked in today, Frank made a point, and he made the point about 20 seconds before air as well. Frank made the point, I'm wearing pants.
Yeah.
Like, Frank, is that news? But evidently, that is a big deal.
For inside coverage, yes. Usually basketball shorts and a dress shirt. Did you never do that? Never do that?
I wear shorts around the house all the time.
Yeah.
But you said that you showed up to Super Bowls.
I did one time, the Miami Super Bowl. Very warm.
Which Miami Super Bowl?
This would have to be Chiefs, probably, right? The
Okay.
Chiefs beating the 49ers.
Chiefs Niners, so right before COVID.
And I was,
the one where we all had COVID but didn't know it?
Didn't know it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it.
The world ended a couple months later. Showed up because I'm, a Colorado guy, happy to be out of the winter.
Sure.
Show up in shorts to the set, and Brett, who's behind there, says, are your pants in your backpack or something? And I said, pants? Why would I need pants?
Because it's a pants party.
Yeah, it turns out that wearing shorts is kind of unprofessional on a set, I guess. I see no problem with it, Andrew. I'd have worn basketball shorts today
Okay,
if you would
but
let me.
if, say, Josh Allen, scheduled to be here tomorrow, if Josh Allen were to show up,
Should I dress up for Josh Allen?
in shorts, would you tell him this is unprofessional?
No, I would not.
Please leave?
I'd probably join
So why can't you
I'd
wear
be like, it's fine for you, Josh Allen. It must be fine for
I don't have a
me.
problem
Like, I don't have any MVP awards, but,
So we're now, the show's already taken a dirt road. Many years, for many years, I'd be on the road for NFL Network. Our producer, Madison, remembers this. During training camp, and all of us would be on the road, director's chairs much like this, from town to town, team to team, camp to camp, every day. And it's hot as you-know-what during the summer, especially in the East Coast, in the South. You have all the humidity, and so we would show up, we meaning the men, and the women as well, in shorts. I had no problem with it. No one else had any problem with it. I would get the occasional text from friends in the media saying, dude, why are you wearing shorts? I'm like, because we're all
baking in the sun.
wearing shorts. Our guests, the players, the coaches, whomever, they're head to toe in dry fit and sneakers.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we wear shorts?
I'm looking to getting some shorts for Wednesday.
We're talking about football.
Wednesday show.
We're talking about football.
Shorts,
Show up in shorts.
I think I got some Wisconsin basketball shorts I could wear on Wednesday.
Yo, Brett, he's showing up in shorts, okay? Shorts? Okay. Later in the week. We have all the news for you, and tonight is media night. So that is when the San Jose Convention Center will be packed by both teams, and you'll have people in bridal dresses, and all the late night shows will send all their wacky
JB
bits
Smoove
to
is
do
always
their thing.
there.
JB
Yeah,
Smoove is
JB
always there. An American hero, honestly. We'll also have the Roger Goodell State of the League, if you will. The commissioner's annual Super Bowl press conference is at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and all throughout the week we'll have coverage for you here on Yahoo and here in Inside Coverage. Let's get the little bits of news out of the way before we get to that. We have a couple bits of international news today. So Madrid now is a long-term deal to get a game for the next couple of years. If I had to guess, I would say the Bears get they're the home team next year in Madrid. The Saints have been announced to be hosting a game next year in Paris.
Makes sense, correct.
At Stade de France. There is a rumor out there that the Browns would be that team. I can tell you right now, I don't know that that is the case, but the Saints are going to go to Paris. That is the logical team for Paris. Agree?
Yeah, why not? It's just the expansion of the international games. I don't love it. I can't lie to you, but it's happening.
Why don't you like it?
Part of it is just, and it's different with the 17-game schedule, but I always thought there was a schedule imbalance with that. The teams that have to go there, it's a hard trip. It is long. It is grueling. Now, once we get to 16 games and all 32 teams do it, it does even it out at that point. But I just think we should. I like the home games. I get why they do it. The international reach. That's where the money is. That's where all that goes. But I don't know. I don't love it. And I don't know that I love waking up at 6 a.m. every Sunday to have to watch football.
You in Denver. It's going to be a 9:30 Eastern time kick for all of these. That's the way it is going to be. When I say Bears, I wouldn't go, if you're a Bears fan, booking your flight to Madrid yet. But there are 3 teams with international marketing rights for Madrid. One of them was the Dolphins. The Dolphins had that game there last year. And because it's the NFC hosting the international games this year, the Bears are the only one with international rights in Madrid. I'd assume it would be there. We're also later today going to hear from both teams, as mentioned, and we're going to get an update on Sam Darnold and his shoulder. So let's get to the 2 teams here, the Patriots and the Seahawks. The Sam Darnold shoulder injury, I don't think is a thing, but knowing the way Mike Vrabel is coy with the media and coy with the injury designations, we know that he was limited last week because they had to do Drake Maye, what did I say?
You said Sam Darnold. It's fine. There's 2 quarterbacks
Drake
in this
Maye,
game.
I apologize. Thank you, Madison. Drake Maye. Drake Maye's got the shoulder. Do we think it's serious?
I don't. If this wasn't Super Bowl week, if this was mid-November, I don't think we'd be talking about it. We'd be like, Drake's going to be fine. He's going to play. But we don't know either because, as you said, Mike Vrabel does play this coy. You reminded, oh, yeah, this guy played for Bill Belichick. Right, they didn't have any quarterbacks throw in the media portion of practice. I think it was last Friday. It's like, yeah, that's a Bill Belichick thing. So we don't know for sure. You could look at the replay when he gets tackled against the Broncos. He does wince a little bit, but man, nobody's 100% at this point. I don't think it's a big deal. Do you?
I don't. But at the same time, you're right, he did wince. He didn't really have to throw the ball in the second half considering the conditions. And so you don't know if he's able to open it up. In reality, and I know I screwed up and said Darnold before, we have 2 somewhat banged-up quarterbacks.
He's banged up too.
Darnold was able to sling it when he needed to sling it. They threw that deep ball to Rashid Shaheed on the opening drive of the NFC Championship game. But it's an oblique. Oblique injuries linger. Oblique injuries
we talked to Kyle Van Noy a couple weeks ago. He said 6 weeks. I was still bothered by it. We're not 6 weeks out from Sam Darnold injury.
No, you can tweak an oblique injury getting something off, like getting a towel off the top shelf in your hotel room.
Well, I mean, we're both old, so
it has never happened to me. Yeah. But you do have 2 quarterbacks that are not 100% healthy. I do think, as we try to come up with storylines, you know how the Super Bowl goes, you will be, by the end of the week, recycling storylines, grasping for straws on storylines, desperately looking for any kind of news to actually be news. The health of these 2 quarterbacks, I think, is legitimately news.
I do too. And I mean, we'll see as the week goes on, but truth be told, the Patriots aren't going to say anything about this. I'm going to be camped out at Drake Maye tonight. That's kind of my assignment. Talk about the shoulder injury, whatever else is going on in Drake Maye's life during media night, the Patriots portion of it. I know he's not going to say anything. I know Vrabel's not going to say anything. They will not talk about this. He'll be limited all week in practice. He'll be questionable for the game. He'll play. We just got to get the game day to see how effective he's going to be.
What else do you want to hear from media night tonight?
Well, marriage proposals and weird questions from
Are you proposing?
Show. I don't plan to, but, we got a few hours. We can figure that out. Nothing really happens during media night that is overly interesting. It's interesting as far as entertainment goes, but I don't think a lot of news is going to come out of there. Usually doesn't. But I do want I want to get the vibe of both teams. Look, these are 2 relatively inexperienced teams. I heard the stat the other day that only 9 guys in this game have Super Bowl experience. I think that's correct. So this is the first time for a lot of these guys. It's not like the Chiefs. We're so used to the Chiefs being here. And it's kind of old hat for them. And they're like, okay, we'll smile through this, but we're kind of sick of doing this. And you could tell that a lot last year. I don't know if you noticed that, but the Chiefs were kind of like, all right, we've done this 6 times already. We have to do this again. I think there's going to be a lot of newness, a lot of energy. I like to see how both teams kind of react to the week. Are they uptight? Are they not happy to be there? Are they just enjoying the week? So I think that's big. And then the Seahawks part of it, you know what? I think Sam Darnold is such a cool story. I mean, that's my assignment tonight. I'm going to be camped out at Sam Darnold, talking about it to him, and it's just such a unique thing for Sam Darnold to be here. I still don't know a great comp for him as far as his career arc goes. Writing him off as a bust, he has a chance to become immortal with a Super Bowl win, because we all remember Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. I think he's kind of the story of the Super Bowl right now, other than Drake Maye's shoulder, which is newsy. But I think Sam Darnold is the story of this Super Bowl, because how many guys get to change their career arc like he has?
Sam Darnold has actually been here before. as a backup 2 years ago. He was on the 49ers roster. However, he is now starting for his fifth team. He is starting for, well, he's on his third team in 3 years. Really, his fourth team in 4 years, if memory serves.
Who is like this, Andrew? Do you remember a guy
I don't know that there is
Doug Williams came
anyone like
but
this.
he was successful early on.
Rich Gannon bounced around.
Yeah,
Doug Williams
he was not a third pick of the draft.
bounced around. Doug Williams didn't even start week 1 that year. He was an injury replacement for Jay Schrader, and then he kept the job because he was amazing.
Yep.
There were fans in Washington, some that wanted Jay Schrader to get his job back.
Yep.
Doug kept that job. He never gave it up,
played
and he
great
rode
that
it to a
Super
Super
Bowl,
Bowl MVP. No, Timmy Smith was the MVP, if I recall.
No, Doug won,
was
even
the
though
MVP.
Timmy had
Timmy Smith
206
was a
yards,
different year. Growing up there, the Redskins were in the Super Bowl every year, and so I have my Washington quarterbacks mixed up. Joe Gibbs won 3 with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, amazing.
Doug Williams and Joe Theismann in no order. Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and then Mark Rippon won one as well. He, if memory serves, was a Super Bowl MVP.
Yes, he was. Played great in that game. The 91 Washington.
Yeah.
One of the great all-time teams, by the way.
The uncle of one Brett Rippon. But Sam Darnold, his story is actually making news here this week because over the weekend, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the Vikings general manager, was fired. It is in no way surprising that Kwesi was fired. There have been some misses in the draft, taking Lewis Cine out of Georgia over Kyle Hamilton, who's gone on to an all-pro career and one of the better players in the game, not just defensive players in the game, for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, there have been misses. Every GM has misses. But the timing of this, it comes after 2 weeks ago, both Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, have their end-of-season press conferences in which they never use the word competition. They never say, we want to bring in a quarterback to compete with J.J. McCarthy. They say, and clearly it was planned, and they were on the same page, we need better depth in our quarterback room. They chose to let Darnold go. They chose to let Daniel Jones go. And then after Justin Jefferson comes out and when asked, hey, do you think you would have been here or the season would have been different? Would you have been a playoff team? Would you have been in the Pro Bowl if you had Sam Darnold? He basically said yes. Now, I don't know that the quote is as bad as the headline, but he, in essence, said yes. And Adolfo-Mensah has said, and he said it on the podium 2 weeks ago, that he has stared at the ceiling, contemplating his quarterback move. What was done, but looking back during the season saying we did the right thing. He said he trusts the process. He says their process was right. They had drafted a guy, right? And we had to go see him play. We tried to bring the other guys back, but probably not at the right cost. Me putting words in his mouth. We had to stick with him. Sam Darnold makes the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is fired.
I don't get the timing. I really don't. It was 26 days after their season ended. It's not like Kwesi screwed up any draft picks in those 26 days. You already knew his resume at that point. You knew the quarterback. Whether Sam Darnold makes the Super Bowl or not, he was a number 1 seed. It's not like they came out of nowhere. The timing was just weird. I thought it was maybe petty at worst because it happened 24 hours after the last general manager spot was filled by Ian Cunningham with the Atlanta Falcons. It almost seemed like they were waiting until every job was filled.
Really?
So Kwesi couldn't interview. It just seemed that way. Now, maybe it's just organizational waffling.
I think that's what it was.
It could have been, but that timing didn't sit right with me. And also, I just don't understand what the Vikings are doing. Now you didn't have a regular GM search. You're not able to talk to an Ian Cunningham, who you might have hired otherwise. They go into free agency and the draft with an interim who's probably going to end up getting the job, by the way. I know that, but it's a strange situation. If you know, do it on day 1.
Yeah.
Like there's no, or even day 2, day 3, that's fine. 26 days, you needed that long to figure this out?
I'm a big fan of, and I think I've used this phrase before in the air, if it's inevitable, make it immediate.
Yes, you have.
I think they did waffle. I think they probably wanted to do it, but talked themselves out of doing it. And then maybe Darnold getting there, they probably put their feet up or leaned back in their chair and went, you know what, I probably should have done this 3 weeks ago, and we're going to do it. What makes the story now after the fact a bit uncomfortable is something that came up in the Athletic article written by Alec Lewis, who covers the Vikings there in Minneapolis, and by Diana Rossini, the national reporter there for the Athletic. Both do a very good job.
Sure do.
This story has been out there in media circles and NFL circles that during training camp a year ago, not this season, but the 2024 season, Kwesi took, as is his right, paternity leave during training camp, which is the busiest time of the year for a general manager. You're watching practice. You're evaluating your players every day. You're churning the bottom of your roster. The O-line coach comes in and says, hey, 62 is a tomato can. Get him out of there. He's going to get somebody hurt in practice. And so, well, someone else just waved to center. We had an eye on him coming out of college. Let's go claim him. GM has a 24-hour a day. Well, maybe that's extreme. You got a job to do during training camp. Now, Adofo-Mensah was reportedly doing all his meetings via Zoom. It's not as if he wasn't doing the job. He just wasn't present. I can tell you that at last year's Super Bowl, people were talking about this. This was well known. Yeah. It was a well-known secret that he had taken paternity leave and considerable, that's not fair, paternity leave during training camp last year. I find it interesting that now the story gets out because I'd assume that those who knew, and you're choosing to report it now, which I don't think it's the reason he was fired, but it complicates the story, which will probably get picked up by non-sports outlets. Oh, look at this. Does the NFL have an HR and paternity issue crisis? Joe Brady, the new Bills head coach, crying on the podium last week when introduced in Buffalo, talking to his wife, talking about missing the birth of their child and how all coaches go through this. I think that's a thing, but I don't know that it's the reason he was fired.
No, and that's why, again, this whole process has been uncomfortable, I guess. Like, why do we need to trash him on his way out the door? And like you said, people knew about this, so it's probably coming out that way and not being leaked after the fact. But being a dad's a 24-hour day job too. I mean, I don't want to sit here and trash a guy because he taking his paternity leave, because a lot of times I think the nonsense about, coaches have to sleep in their office 120 hours a week and miss the kids growing up and all. I think that's overdone and people play into that a little too much. I want to bring this back to a real life thing at some point. But yeah, a training camp for a general manager, that's tough. That's tough. But I'd like to. I don't want to focus. I know that's going to be a thing. I don't want to focus on it too much because ultimately, look, if they retain Sam Darnold and they're in the playoffs, or even if J.J. McCarthy plays better and they're in the playoffs, we're not having these conversations, right? Like, it would be saying, well, Kwesi's coming back for year 5. Like, I don't think he would. Do you? If the Vikings make the playoffs this year, do you think he gets fired? I don't.
I mean, they extended him last year. I don't think he gets fired. No, right. If they make the playoffs, they don't get fired. But
so ultimately, this is a wins and losses thing. You didn't make the playoffs because a big part of that was you screwed up the quarterback.
That's why he got fired. Right. In my estimation, that's why he got. He got because
there wasn't technically that. If they make the playoffs with Sam Darnold at quarterback, they don't fire him.
If they make the playoffs this year with JJ at quarterback, they absolutely don't fire him because that means they got the quarterback right.
Correct.
And they are sitting here now heading into year number 3, and they don't think they got the quarterback right. What this signals to me is that and again, this is a stretch, or maybe it isn't, that they're looking at J.J. McCarthy going, he's not the guy. We've made up our mind already heading into year number 3.
I think they made up their mind, really.
If they thought he was the guy, would they fire him?
I don't know.
If you went out and drafted the quarterback that you think is the guy,
I don't think they know. I don't think they've given up on him yet. I think they're in the middle.
Both can be true, though.
Yes.
You haven't given up?
You are correct.
But
if
you think he's not the guy.
If you're right. If they thought he was the guy, that's how Kwesi would be getting flowers right now, right? Like, wow, you got us right into the next era of our quarterbacks. Great job. So yes, you are correct about that. But I don't think they've given up on him yet. But they also don't believe he's the guy yet.
I also think it speaks to a disconnect. We have like 40 seconds here. A disconnect between Kwesi and KOC.
Yeah,
because the other option last year was Aaron Rodgers. You could have let Darnold go and Daniel Jones go, but bring in Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But then you stunt the growth of your young quarterback.
I thought, by the way, we're talking about process because Kwesi talked about that. I thought the process was fine.
I agree.
Bringing in Aaron Rodgers opens up a whole other can of worms, and you drafted this guy 10th, and you got to see it through. It just didn't work.
Totally agree. You drafted him. He's not the guy. And now you got to figure it out. And now they have to find a new GM, and it's likely going to be Rob Brzezinski. At least for now, he's already in the building. He gets elevated. He takes over the draft, and the draft is April 23rd. After the draft, they will figure it out. Coming up next here in Inside Coverage, did I mention we're live? What does Frank think as a Super Bowl city? or San Francisco as a Super Bowl city? And what did Sean McVay say today about Matthew Stafford?
What is the argument in your eyes for Cam Boozer as the first pick in the draft?
His game is just really resilient. And, with all the concerns about some of his verticality or the burst, whatever it may be, he's been incredibly productive.
It's just hard to look at Boozer and argue against the level of production from him at every single level, while he's also continued to get better at add more to his game.
And the knock against Oregon is that they've always been a step away from national championship caliber.
Dan Lanning has to build a more complete roster. And, you can say, he took all this from Kirby Smart. Well, none of what he learned from Kirby Smart actually applies anymore. He's got to do it in this era. They're still good. They're still going to be there every year. He's got to have that one right mix that comes together. And I think it will.
Jaylen Brown, what are Ronnie's on, Waz?
I think he's earned the right to pound his chest at this point. There's just no two ways about it. And the truth of the matter is Jaylen Brown is playing like a superstar. There's no qualifications here. Like this guy is playing like one of the best players in the NBA. He's getting it done on both ends of the court.
My fight that I need to see next year is Alex Pereira versus John Jones. The history is the fact that Alex Pereira could be the first one to defeat John Jones, all due respect to Matt Hamill. And it would be a massive feather in the cap of Alex Pereira, who could then fight the winner of Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall. If Alex Pereira is now a heavyweight, it's free and clear for you, John. And I think the UFC, as you said, would want to make a big splash this year. There is no bigger splash they could make than Alex Pereira versus John Jones.
It's Inside Coverage. We're live here on Yahoo from San Francisco. Andrew Siciliano, Frank Schwab. It is Monday of Super Bowl week. We are here all the week. Jory Epstein, Charles Robinson, Ben Fox, all joining us a little bit later. It is later in the week, that is. It is media night tonight. Roger Goodell has his press conference later. But both of those, Frank, are in San Jose. We right now are in downtown San Francisco, which is kind of home base for everything. But the two teams are staying down south of here, down the 101, about an hour. For those who don't know the layout of the Bay Area, Santa Clara is not close to downtown San Francisco. It's about 50 miles down the road, maybe 45, right? And it's got its own airport. Both teams, when you saw the teams fly in on Sunday, they didn't fly to SFO. No. They flew to San Jose.
San Jose to the stadium. 5 minutes.
One team is practicing at San Jose State. The other team is practicing in Palo Alto at Stanford. So a lot of the events with the teams will be down there. It is not the easiest Super Bowl city to navigate, understanding that for the overwhelming majority of football fans, both domestically and internationally, nobody cares about the convenience of the media nor the corporate entities that take over this game. So with that as the preface, Frank, what do you think of San Francisco as a Super Bowl city?
I'm not the biggest fan.
Okay.
Because, look, San Francisco's a great city. Wonderful city. Been to many Giants games. Been to that ballpark?
Absolutely. It's beautiful. It's right there out the window.
It's right there out the Yahoo offices right here. Great city. Not a great host city. Now we're coming off the best host city. New Orleans is the best host city, right? What'd you like better?
Can we go back to San Diego?
Oh, I haven't done a Super Bowl in San Diego. So you might be right about that.
There's no longer an NFL team there. We're not going to go to San Diego. I think San Diego's the best.
That's a big
That's
bummer.
just me, but keep going.
I get it. Fine. It is in the top 3 or so. I think it's walking distance here. It is way out. You are right. San Francisco 49ers is a misnomer. They do not play in San Francisco or really anywhere close to it. And the one thing I do always notice when I come in, and you might too, is how much does the Super Bowl take over a city? When the Super Bowl is in New York, it was like, there's an event going on this week.
But I thought it was well done. I thought it was well done in New York.
I did think it was well done. But there's other cities where, the Super Bowl's here. That's literally the only thing happening in the city. I felt that way about Phoenix. I felt that way about Minneapolis. This is like
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is a big one that way. But this almost feels like, Yeah, I guess there's a Super Bowl going on. Like, not in a bad way. Just there's so much going on in San Francisco.
It is only Monday.
It is only Monday.
It's going to get busier, crazier.
Yep.
All of that. I like this town. It's It's a world-class international town.
Beautiful.
I love San Francisco. It's just not the most convenient.
Yeah. Santa Clara.
The average fan should not care about that in any way, shape, or form. The teams are going to be well taken care of. They fly into San Jose. The hotels are down there. The practice facilities are top-notch.
They will not see the
They're going to
Golden
be
Gate
great.
Bridge.
They're never going to see San Francisco. Now, for example, if you're going to go to NFL Honors, right? If anyone from either of those teams is going to go to NFL Honors, yes, they'll see downtown San Francisco. But the grand scheme of things, they're never going to leave.
San Jose, Santa Clara,
Silicon Valley, San Jose,
everything. But not San Francisco.
Down there. Next year, it's in Los Angeles again. LA also, very spread out.
Yeah.
Then it goes to Atlanta. Atlanta far more condensed.
Mm-hmm. I like Atlanta as a whole city, too.
But you have things in Midtown, kind of near the stadium. You have a lot out in Buckhead. None of it is very far, but it is more condensed. If I had to vote, and obviously I said San Diego before, I know it's cold weather. Indianapolis does a great job with everything. They do a great job for the Final Fours. Yep. They do a great job when they've had 2 Super Bowls. They do a great job with the Combine. We'll be back there at the end of February in a month from now, 3 weeks from now. They do a fantastic job. I think Indianapolis hosts a major event as well as any big city in America.
I'd say Vegas is up there for that.
Vegas was good as well, except you couldn't move on the Strip. You had to walk everywhere. First world problem. You literally, the traffic and those, if you've been to Vegas, you've seen Vegas on a Friday or Saturday night where you can't get up and down the Strip. It was that times 1,000.
Yeah, it was crowded. It was big. But yes, I agree. I think there's a reason all of these big events go to Indianapolis all the time. It's because it's convenient. Everything's right there. It's a great host city.
Yeah. Weather should be good, although it's cold. It's like in the 40s in the morning here. The weather should be good on Sunday. There were a couple of earthquakes this morning. Did you feel the earthquakes?
I did not. Wow. Really?
East Bay earthquakes, like a 4-5-ish at around 7 a.m. No?
No, nothing.
We did not really feel them here in downtown San Francisco, but they were felt East Bay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Biggest earthquake you've ever been in?
There was one. I grew up in Anaheim, went to high school in Anaheim, so there was one in the early 90s, mid-90s there. I don't remember which one, but it was big. It was stuff getting knocked off the walls, and it was a shaker. I'll tell you that.
I lived through an 8.8.
8.8. Were you in Singapore or something?
I was in Chile.
Wow.
8.8.
8.8.
Fifth largest earthquake in recorded human history since they came up with the Richter scale.
My goodness.
It was fun. It was not fun at all. All right, let's get to the news here, the coaching news, because all 10 jobs have been filled. And when I say they've been filled, technically the Raiders' job has not been filled. Arizona has hired Mike LaFleur. That is done. The Raiders are expected to hire, reportedly going to hire Clint Kubiak.
All the buzzwords in there.
Because much like Kyle Shanahan some years ago, the 49ers, who was coaching with the Falcons as their OC, they can't announce during the Super Bowl that a team is going to hire a coach. But it is going to be Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator. A year ago, the Saints offensive coordinator. Interviewed for other OC jobs last year, including the one in Cleveland. Yeah. He took the job in Seattle, and now he will be heading, presumably, nothing changes in the next week. He could go full McDaniels here, but heading to Vegas with the number 1 overall pick. Your thoughts?
I think it's as good as the Raiders could have done. And by the way, it's very funny that he is in this Super Bowl where 10 years ago his dad won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. Gary Kubiak obviously has that lineage of growing up around the game. He's a very bright offensive mind. And if you think back to the start of this cycle, the one offensive mind that everybody was like, this guy was Clint Kubiak. I think he was very hot at the start of the cycle. And just one reason or another, the Bills choose Joe Brady, or the Browns go with Todd Monken. Just other guys got jobs, and it was almost like this was meant to happen for the Raiders. He gets to groom Fernando Mendoza, which I think is great for that organization. Everybody's going to start kind of on the same page now. You get a quarterback coming in, you get a young offensive mind coming in to groom him. If it works out like Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams, they'll love that. I didn't think this Raiders job was overly attractive.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Is it a good job?
I don't think it is. Because just the history. What is this, their 18th coach since 2001 or something like that? Whatever number we're at, we've heard
They're paying a lot of coaches.
They're paying a ton of coaches. Mark Davis has more guys on payroll than anybody. So you look at that, the roster I don't think is great. They do have some building blocks, obviously. We don't know about Max Crosby's future. But I do believe this is a bad job. But bad jobs can turn good in a hurry. You look at Houston's a great example. D'Amico Ryan's turned that thing around right away. He's got that thing humming now. Who's to say Clint Kubiak can't be that guy? So it has been a bad job. That does not mean it's a bad job in perpetuity. I think Clint Kubiak, very, very good hire for them. I didn't think they would hire somebody as good as Clint.
So Clint Kubiak, 39 years old. Just looking at some numbers here. The Raiders have not won the division or won a playoff game since 2002.
It was the AFC Championship game, right?
Right, where they
Oh, my goodness.
they went to San Diego Super Bowl again, and
Got blown out by
the Buccaneers.
Yes. Got blown out by John Gruden, who ended up being their coach 20 years later and obviously fired in disgrace. But
You have 2 playoff teams already in the division,
yeah, and
Plus-
that's part of what makes it a tough job.
plus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
You got to go against Harbaugh, Peyton, and Reed 6 times a year. That's another part of why it makes it a tough job.
I'm curious to see, honestly, and I don't know Clint Kubiak. I've never met him. What I do hear, and tell me if I'm wrong, not the loudest, he's not the fiery leader, doesn't mean he's not a good leader. I've said repeatedly, and Kevin Stefanski and I have had this conversation many times on the air, and it's a phrase that I always use, not all leaders are loud.
Right. I don't think Mike McDonald is.
Mike
about
McDonald
Super Bowl-
is not in any way
Speaking about Super Bowl coaches.
at all.
But he's
right. Mike Vrabel's loud.
Yep.
Mike McDonald is not loud. So there's not one way to lead.
Correct.
I'm curious to see what kind of leader he is. I've heard good things. I was not one to watch a lot of Clint Kubiak OC pressers this year. No. I'm just curious to see.
Yeah,
how the whole thing works out.
But I do think going back to Gary, I think that helps him so much. To have your dad, imagine that.
Dad is not loud either.
Imagine that resource. No, he never was. He's always a quiet Texas dude, right? Like I was around Gary a lot covering the Broncos. He was never that dude that's just going to light somebody up at a press conference or win the press conference, whatever, or team meeting. He's not that guy, but he knew football. Guys respect that. I think guys will respect Clint that way. And I think having his dad to lean on, how do I do this? There's no better resource than that. We can talk about nepotism all we want, and that is a big thing in the NFL. But it does matter at some point. I'm sure. How much does it help Kyle Shanahan that he can call up Mike and be like,
Absolutely.
"Hey, Dad, I'm dealing with this situation. Do you remember anything like this in your life?" And he'll be like, "Yes, I've dealt with everything. I was a head coach for the Broncos for 17 years, or whatever it was."
And Mike Shanahan, by the way, should be in the Hall of Fame. Let's get him in the Hall of Fame. So 2 years ago yesterday, Mike McDonald was hired as head coach of the Seahawks. That's how quickly they were able to get back to a Super Bowl with an entirely different roster. 2014 was a long time ago. We get that. But the transformation, and he has not been a screamer or a yeller, that he has had, or rather his effect on this team is obviously remarkable. I remember standing with Mike McDonald at the owners' meetings in Orlando. Was it Orlando? The owners' meetings 2 years ago. So he had just been hired. Early on at the owners' meetings, I was down there on Sunday. Somebody introduced us. We hit it off. We started talking. And he's very low-key. And he's kind of looking around the room. And we ran into each other and spent a lot of time together over that weekend. We just happened to, I go get a cup of coffee, there's Mike McDonald. I go down to the bar, there's Mike McDonald. And we talked a lot. And he was always the guy asking questions. Not trying to be the life of the party, not trying to shake every hand. Hey, I'm the new guy here. Because like he had been an assistant coach with the Ravens. Assistant coaches don't go to the owners' meetings.
Right.
Head coaches go to the owners' meetings. Owners, general managers, big executives go to the owners' meetings. So his first time there, and he's looking around the room, and he's observing, and he's taking mental notes. Hey, who's that guy? I would explain, well, that's so-and-so, the CMO of whatever team. Oh, cool. And who's that? And you could see the gears turning, not judging, but just analyzing. He is as sharp a head coach as you will meet, and it doesn't matter, is my point, how loud you are, because that is conveyed to his locker room. They know how sharp he is. They know that he puts them in good situations.
If they win this Super Bowl,
And you don't have to yell.
is he a top 5 guy? If they win this Super Bowl, you'd have to look at it in the lens.
Like currently top 5 guy in the league.
And I get that you get the 5 quickly, but if you're looking at the lens of this guy's, I believe 39, is that correct? 38, 39, not yet 40. He would come in and turn the Seahawks around from, they're pretty mediocre by the end of the Pete Carroll era, to turn them around in 2 years and to do it with a number 1 ranked defense without a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. They do have good players on defense, but there's not a Myles Garrett, right?
No.
To do that, to win a Super Bowl, to do it before you're 40, I think would stamp him, maybe not top 5, because again, Reed, McVay, we get the 5 really quick. But we'd have to start having a conversation of, he was called the defensive McVay when he was on the circuit trying to get hired. They got hired. I think that's kind of coming to pass. He's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant like McVay, just the guy on the other side of the ball.
They couldn't be more different personality.
Yeah, right. That is correct.
Sean is the guy who is going to shake your hand, look you dead in the eye, close talker. His dad, by the way, is the most famous, like the closest of close talkers of all time. I love his father, but his dad's that guy who's going to grab your hand and, as I knock the mic down and lean in. And Sean's a little bit like that as well. But that's who he is. That's authentic.
High energy, yep.
He is high energy, authentic. I have been in rooms with Sean where he is so excited to talk ball with people. Let's say, Frank, you're the DC of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sure.
But I'm Sean and you're Frank, and we've never met. He is going to walk up to you, shake your hand, like stare a hole through you, and legitimately want to talk ball and pick your brain. Mm-hmm. Not like to get intelligence on how to beat you next year, but he's that geeked to talk ball. I've been in situations with him where there's a player on another team, it's the off season, and they're like, man, like you ran that cover 4 beater 2 years ago.
He's got that memory
against the Falcons. Like, where'd that call come from?
Right.
Like, did you know when you lined up that you were going to hit that? Like, he is, and he's not getting intelligence, although he is, but he's just that geeked to talk ball. But they're very different.
Very different. But both, as we talked about, you can be different and still be effective. And I think both of those guys come at it in a different way, but they're both at the top of their craft right now. I have such respect for Mike McDonald, what he's done already there. And why should we assume it's going to slow down anytime in the next 10
I don't think it is.
38 years old,
Yeah,
39.
like if he was on the open market tomorrow,
oh, my goodness.
there'd be a massive bidding war.
Absolutely.
All right, what do you think, Mike LaFleur? Other than, and I joked earlier with Fitz and Caroline, I am so thrilled that there's a head coach now my height. Mike LaFleur takes over the Arizona Cardinals, former Rams OC, and now all the Rams OCs have moved on officially to get head coaching jobs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're trying to get off the McVay tree, and I understand it. I was underwhelmed. It's fine. He might turn out to be great. We don't know what Michael LaFleur brings as a head coach. But that job, I thought, was the worst this cycle. There's no history of winning. Ownership, honestly, has been pretty bad.
Got to figure out quarterback.
No quarterback. The roster's not that good. Like Jonathan Gannon didn't have much chance there. So I looked at this as the worst of the jobs. It's no surprise that they kind of went last. That they got, but he could turn out great. Like he's another guy. 38.
I like him. I like Mike a lot.
Yeah, I could see it working out. It's just one of those. I don't think he's selling this. I don't think you're putting him up on billboards and being like, wow, I'm getting season tickets because of Mike LaFleur. But he could turn out to be a great coach. He has some lineage, too, his family tree.
Absolutely. So now Mike and Matt, Matt obviously with the Packers, Mike with the Cardinals. They do not play each other next year, but we have another set of brothers coaching. We have our final 2 minutes here of this block here, Frank. Your favorite hire in this cycle is?
I'll just go to the top. It's the easy one. It's John Harbaugh. I think that the Giants had to get off this cycle of trying to find an assistant, Joe Judge and Daboll and all this. They just said, nope, we know what John Harbaugh is. He's a sure thing. I think he comes in, changes the culture of the Giants immediately. Love that. You're hiring a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh's going to Hall of Fame. That doesn't come along too often.
Mine's a Mike McDaniel. I'm cheating. Because I would make the argument that the Chargers OC job is better than any of the 10 head coaching jobs in this cycle.
Interesting.
So I'm cheating.
I can see that.
I'm taking Mike McDaniel. Least favorite hire in our final minute plus.
I know we disagreed about in this last week when we weren't in person, but the Mike McCarthy hiring is just so swinging for a single. I don't know. He's going to bring Scott Tolzien along.
That means it's going to be Aaron if it's going to be Scott Tolzien.
Right. On Wisconsin, by the way. Scott Tolzien, Badger great. But why are we trying to cater to a 43-year-old quarterback? I don't know. The whole story of Mike McCarthy going home to Pittsburgh's cool. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I don't care where a coach is from. Can he coach or not? Sean McVay's not from L.A., but done pretty well there. So I didn't love that hire. I just thought it was too safe. It was way too safe for me. I
think it's good because there are no quarterback options. So if you get Aaron, you get Aaron, who I don't think is the right choice for next year. And if you don't, it's Mike McCarthy. You can develop a quarterback. That's just me. My least favorite, and this is a bit unfair, is Joe Brady. Here's why.
I get it.
Because, I'm happy for Joe Brady. We have 20 seconds here. I think the bar is so high It's, all right, Joe, you got to win. You got to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I almost think if I'm Joe Brady, I would have preferred to go elsewhere to get that opportunity as opposed to get it here where I could build something without the expectations from the ground up immediately, as opposed to someone's got to come in here and win this thing. All right, coming up next, as promised, what Sean McVay said today about Matthew Stafford.
Kirby may not win another national title. I think he's the best head coach in college football right now. So it sounds kind of like an oxymoron. It's not. Well, it's possible I'm wrong that he's the best. But even if I'm right that he is the best, yeah, it's possible that he won 2 of them back-to-back years, and that's it. That's what Dabo Swinney did. He won a couple, and then I don't think Dabo will ever win another national title. What does that mean? It means he's one of the best to ever do it, and he's a Hall of Famer. That's what it means for Dabo Swinney.
All right, so let's talk about fights we want to see 2026. GC, you just gave us a nice little teaser there, so why don't you go first?
My concrete one, my number one that I want to see is still remaining Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Whether it's at 170, whether it's Islam going down to 155, the star power that these two guys have with the run that Islam is on, with the undefeated record of Ilia Topuria, it's just a match that I am craving more than any other.
Isaiah Stewart is underrated, Sharp. Way underrated. 37% from three. It's a really good pick. People think about Isaiah Stewart as this tough guy who can shoot, good at rim finisher and all that too. But in reality this year, he's become a all defensive player candidate. He's become a great switch defender. Isaiah Stewart, one of the most underrated players in the whole league.
The NFL's so brutal, man. It's such a brutal. I thought to myself when Jonathan Gannon got fired, I thought, did they not just wish him a happy birthday? They did. They wished him a happy birthday, and then they fired him on the same day. So that's the NFL, folks. That hook is real. It's out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's bad to be fired. He does, however, get a lovely parting gift. It is Inside Coverage Roadshow, live on the road here in San Francisco, the Yahoo headquarters. That's Frank Schwab. I'm Andrew Siciliano. On Monday, it's Media Night, and Roger Goodell will be speaking. We'll have all those headlines for you throughout the day and throughout the week here. This is the only place you need to be for Super Bowl coverage. And also, like everything else going on, Sean McVay had his press conference. It's interesting, the Rams waited a full week for Sean McVay to meet the media after losing the NFC Championship game, partly because McVay did say today that it's probably the one loss that has stuck with him. It's only been 8 days, as much as any loss in his career, so much so that he might not even watch the Super Bowl. He probably will watch the Super Bowl, but he says he can't get over it.
No,
now,
I don't blame him.
He was rewarded with an extension, and GM Les Snead was rewarded with an extension. So here is a laurel and a hearty handshake and a nice new contract with a lot of zeros at the end of it to get over it.
He is not. He just turned 40, I believe, last weekend.
Yes, he did.
He's going to beat Don Shula's record, right?
2 weekends ago. Yeah, he should.
He should. Like, it's almost inevitable. I never thought somebody would. Once Bill Belichick kind of stepped aside and he didn't get a foot back in the door, I said, nobody's beating Don Shula's record. And then you look, and Sean McVay has 92 wins in 10 years. He's not just barely turned 40. He's going to beat Don Shula's all-time wins record.
He is already the winningest coach in Rams history, passing John Robinson.
Has like as many playoff wins before 40 as like everybody else combined or something crazy. Like there was a crazy stat out there. His 10 or 11 playoff wins before age 40 laps the field.
Well, there's a fun one. He has faced 14 of 15 or 15. I think he's faced all but one NFC team in the postseason.
And he's not. He just turned 40. Like he's at incredible. He's unbelievable.
Okay, breaking news, Madison tells us Davis Webb is the Broncos offensive coordinator. Joe Lombardi
by the way,
was fired. Davis Webb took his name out of the running for the two other head coaching jobs, not because he didn't want the jobs necessarily, but because you knew someone else is going to get them. Right. And then in your backyard, what do you think?
Yeah, by the way, Bo Nix is very close to Davis Webb. We all know that. And Davis Webb's kind of the go-between between Peyton and Nick's. There has been some friction between Peyton and Nick's over this ankle surgery thing.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It's very weird. I don't know what to make of it necessarily. It's basically Sean Payton coming out and giving medical information about Bo Nix and history, and Bo saying, no, that's not really true. And Sean saying this was inevitable. And
that I wouldn't have drafted him, but it was
really. I think that was joking. He was. Hearing it live, I was like, he's just joking about that. But you still need that go-between. And Davis Webb has been the go-between. We all know he's brilliant. We all know he's going to be a head coach someday. He's probably going to be a very good head coach someday. But right now, he needs this step in his career. I just think this is big for the Broncos for continuity and also to keep. Dude, Peyton runs hot.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, that's an understatement. Having that go-between between those two guys, especially when it's a little, like, they're going to get over it. I'm not worried about Nix and Peyton or anything like that. But right now, there's a little friction. So having Davis Webb there, I think, is big for the Broncos going forward.
Davis Webb, who is only 30 and who played in the 2017 Senior Bowl, just to put that into perspective. Wow. And then he obviously had an NFL career, not a long one, and then got into coaching. He's the new Broncos OC. Back to the Rams real quick here. Sean McVay said, and remember, he walked off the podium in Seattle after only like 4 minutes when asked, is Matthew Stafford back next year? And he got a little ornery about it. He said he does want Matthew back. He said, fingers crossed that Matthew wants to come back and that they want them back. If that's something that he wants to do, the answer is absolutely yes. Our hope is that he does, but with respect to his timetable, we'll let him be able to do that. So Matthew made 44 this year, just for comparison's sake. Dak Prescott made 60. Yeah. Now, that was year one of a front-loaded deal, how all these deals are. But the APY, 60, Stafford, 40. Stafford is due to make $40 million this year in cash in 2026, which means they have to do another new deal. They put a one-year Band-Aid on it. When, if you recall, a year ago, we go to the Combine, and it looked as if Matthew Stafford was gone. I told people on Monday, the biggest quarterback news here is not Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders. It is Matthew Stafford going to be a Ram? And people laughed at me. He almost got traded. What's the price? Like, if you're Stafford and you want to come back.
Starts at 60, right?
I would have to think.
He's the MVP of the league.
I would have to think it starts at 60. If you're the Rams, though, how much are you willing to commit? And are you willing to commit multiple years to a guy who's 38 and couldn't practice in training camp?
Right, and that is, and the age curve, the age cliff is coming. Like it, I know Matthew Stafford just won an MVP. It doesn't mean he's not at an age where quarterbacks start to slow down. 40-year-old quarterbacks don't play well unless your name is Tom Brady, and I guess Aaron Rodgers now. But I wonder if it's just going to be, all right, you want this many years, we're going to give you less years but more money. Maybe he gets a 65, but it's on a shorter-term deal. Something like that, because it's hard to commit to a 38-year quarterback with major back problems. We didn't even know if he was going to play in September, right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe less but more money, because you have to start $60 million if you're Stafford. He deserves it. He's absolutely earned it at this point. Why wouldn't he get $60 million a year?
We agree he's going to be the MVP, or do you think May?
I think the AP vote usually, I shouldn't say that after last year, but usually the AP vote signals who's going to win quarterback. And Stafford won that comfortably. I think it was like 33-16. Mm-hmm. So I believe, I'd be shocked if Drake Maye. Trust me, I have a story written for Thursday when I'm at NFL Honors. Matthew.
You have a Drake Maye has stunningly been named.
No.
You have your Stafford.
I'm just going straight Stafford. Okay. And so if you hear Drake May announced as MVP, you'll know that I've closed my computer and just walked off.
And walked out.
I don't really want to.
It's a walk off.
Deal with. I'm not dealing with Drake May. Yeah.
I think it's Stafford, and I think the biggest issue will be, and I have not discussed this with Rams officials. This is me spitballing here. The biggest issue is how many years does he want? And how many years do they want to commit?
How many think is fair?
I think 2 is fair. I think
I was going to say
I think a 2-year guarantee is fair that takes him to 40.
Right.
And then you reevaluate at that point. Right. But what is that 2-year number?
And this also, there is a possibility Matthew Stafford just says, I got a lot of kids. I've had a lot of injuries. Maybe I'm good. Maybe I'm good walking out on top as the MVP. I don't think so. I think that's a very low possibility. But I don't think it's non-zero.
Okay, so here, I'm going to do the math. I'm going to say, and I honestly don't know this, I'm going to say it's going to come out to a 3-year, $181 million extension. So you get above 60, you get 60.3. 3-year 180 with 108 guarantee.
Oh, I was going to say higher than that, but
111?
I was going to hire you as my agent.
111 guarantee?
Man, that's a little light. A little light for the MVP of the league.
Because it's a 2-year guarantee. So we say we get you to 60 year one, year two's.
You were negotiating that well. You gave up a lot of guaranteed money there, Andrew. I don't like it.
I'm just saying.
I was going to say you could go.
I don't think you get a guarantee over 120.
I get it. But that would be basically 2 years guaranteed. You're giving you 2 years guaranteed, and year 3
3-year deal, 180, slightly above 180 to get above.
It couldn't get above 180.
And then what is the actual 2-year guarantee?
Yeah, you're right. I think you're actually.
That is just a guess, again, without talking to either side. I don't know. And remember, the Rams do have 2 first-round picks.
But not who are you going to get?
That's my point.
I guess we're going to talk about the combine.
We're going to talk up Ty Simpson. We're going to talk up Garrett Nussmeier. We're going to talk up.
And I think McVay could turn anybody into a star.
Yeah.
I really do. I think
Trinidad Chambliss could get talked into this conversation as well. Like, there are a lot of moving pieces here in the quarterbacks before we get to April 23rd. But I don't know that there's an immediate answer here for them.
No, you're not getting Mendoza. That pick ain't moving. So
Jimmy is still there. Jimmy Garoppolo is still there.
Yeah,
That's
it was
always the
perfectly
fallback.
Perfectly reasonable.
And I think there's part of Sean McVay that would love to go, hey, watch me.
Yeah.
Kyle couldn't win with Jimmy. I can win with Jimmy.
Respect the petty.
Like, do you hear Jimmy? You remember that? Like, no. Do you hear Jimmy? But, like, do you hear Jimmy? Forget about it.
Woody Harrelson, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Sean McVay says, they want him back, and now you got to figure it out. So it's March 11 is the start of the new league year. Circle that on your calendar. Hold on one sec. Let me look at that. Make sure that is right, because March. Yeah.
I believe that is correct. Yes.
So March 11 is the start of the new league year. Free agency will begin that Monday, the negotiation period. We're not allowed. Can we make a rule? We cannot call it legal tampering on the show. Because it is not tampering. They are allowed
They're still
to
tampering.
do deals.
They're illegally tampering.
It is not legal tampering. You're allowed to do these deals. There is no tampering. Tampering implies something is wrong.
I'm still using it. You have to bleep me. Madison's got to bleep me when you're hosting.
Okay, what else is going on? The 49ers have hired Raheem Morris as defensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan and he go way, way back. Raheem, before he took the Falcons job, was the Rams defensive coordinator. So now he's going to stay or come back to the NFC West. And then the 2 pressers, we have 2 pressers on Tuesday. Both Todd Monken in Cleveland, where there is a DC question, is Jim Schwartz coming back or not? He is under contract. And then Mike LaFleur, they both get introduced on Tuesday.
You like the Raheem hire?
I do. I like Raheem.
I do too. I think it's a good. I think it's Robert Saleh 2.0. Basically, you fail as head coach, but you're still really, really good as a defensive coordinator. I think it works for Raheem too. If he comes in, has a good year with that defense, maybe he gets back on the head coaching cycle. Like I think it's a good move for both.
I agree. All right, so we have 5 minutes here for a what do we call this segment? How about I did not know that? Okay, how about that? People talk about the Patriots' schedule. Do you realize that this is the furthest trip, the longest trip that they have made the entire season, and that they never crossed the Mississippi
Never crossed the
regular
Mississippi.
season?
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that, Andrew.
Did you know that the Patriots flew only 12,000 miles this year, and the Seahawks flew 31,000 miles?
800. They have a lot of frequent flyer miles. Yes.
Do you know that the Seahawks crossed 34 time zones this year?
How many?
34.
Wow.
They had 5 games on Eastern time, 1 game in Tennessee on Central time.
Okay.
That the Patriots crossed 4 time zones.
4 time zones. Wow. Just a couple in the Central, huh?
Do you know that the Seahawks have made the Super Bowl every year in the last 3 in which we've elected a new pope?
I did not know that either.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So every time a pope, the smoke will come and Seahawks fans.
Do you know the name of our current pope?
I know he's from Chicago and he's a White Sox fan.
Correct.
I respect that because he's not.
Do you know the name of the current pope?
No.
Okay. It is a Pope Leo the 14th.
Yeah.
They made it in after Pope Francis.
Wouldn't have got that either, Andrew.
In 2013, and Pope Benedict the 16th in 2005. All right, trivia for you. This will be the Patriots' 12th Super Bowl, Frank.
Okay.
How many of them have been in California?
Oh, none. This is our first one in California.
Very good.
Yes.
Well done. Look at that.
I got that one.
Okay. Which visiting team has the most wins at Levi's Stadium?
It has to be. Oh, wait. Maybe it's not the Rams. I'll say the Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Rams haven't done great against 49ers.
Was that one too easy?
It was 1 of 3, and I don't think it was a Cardinal, so it was basically 1 of 2.
And then finally, hold on, I have it here. Too many windows open.
I had that problem.
Sam Darnold will become the second quarterback drafted by the Jets to start a Super Bowl. Who was the first?
It has to be Namath.
Correct. That was an easy one, too.
Yeah, that's
all right. Joe Namath, Super Bowl 3. We have 2 minutes remaining, Frank. Time for 1 minute. Time for one more thing before
fired up.
We go.
House back game to San Francisco. I want to talk about the last time the Seahawks and Patriots met in the Super Bowl 49. It was in Arizona, Phoenix area. I believe that was the greatest game in NFL history. Both of us have been around the league a long time. We like the history of the game. I know all about Giants, Colts, and I know about the Ice Bowl, and I know about Super Bowl 3. But for my money, Super Bowl 49, the greatest game in NFL history as we get the Seahawks and Patriots. Again, obviously that game, Chris Matthews came out of nowhere to have a big role in the first half. These were two great champions, almost like Ali Frazier in 71 when they both met, when they were undefeated. That Seahawks team was a budding dynasty at that moment. The Patriots were kind of a fading dynasty at that moment. Hadn't won a Super Bowl in a long time. We had the Chris Matthews first half, and then the second half just goes crazy. Great Tom Brady comeback. The Jermaine Kearse catch, nobody remembers. The Jermaine Kearse catch was greater than the David Tyree catch. It just didn't turn out.
Come on, man.
That catch, do you remember that catch? That catch was unbelievable. The Jermaine Kearse catch sets the Seahawks up. They get I think it was Hightower had that great tackle of Lidge to the 1 yard line. Nobody remembers that play because obviously the fateful play call, Malcolm Butler makes the biggest.
David Tyree.
It was better. If you look at just 2 catches next to each other. Look at the Giants will win that Super Bowl. We're not talking about.
I respect your right to be wrong on this one.
Malcolm Butler makes the most impactful play in NFL history. It turned who won a Super Bowl. By the way, a great catch. He made a great play. The catch itself was great. I can't talk enough about Super Bowl 49. Seeing these 2 teams back in the Super Bowl reminds me of that game. I believe the greatest game in NFL history.
Were you left shark? Confirm or deny?
I was not. I was still sitting next to Eric Adelson up in the media rows, so I was not left shark. But great halftime show, too. I thought Katy Perry was excellent.
I missed it. I had to go back to L.A. to do the NFL Network halftime show.
You did miss it. That was great.
And
that
then
was fantastic.
We got done with the show.
Came out in the big tiger. And
went back to the green room and saw that this whole thing was sharks and Katy Perry. And I had no idea what the heck was going on. My one more thing is if the Seahawks win this, it won't be the first time Sam Darnold wins a championship at Levi's Stadium. The 2017 Pac-12 championship game, SC won, beat Stanford. Sam Darnold threw 2 touchdowns. Just saying, he has a championship pedigree in this building.
So long ago, the conference doesn't even exist.
So long ago. I mean, that is how resounding the SC victory was. That SC shut down the Pac-12. Frank, this has been fun.
Absolutely great.
Frank Schwab. We're going to have Charles Robinson, Jory Epstein, Ben Fox, our entire crew here throughout the week on Inside Coverage. We're going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Thursday here. Our normal show live in San Francisco. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are back on Tuesday with a cast of thousands. See you then.